Hey guys, I'm Kendra.
Hi, I'm Mercedes, and this week we're talking about one of the best friends to lovers movies, Brown Sugar.
The best. I think that's an understatement, Mercedes. I am so excited to talk about this film because it has been a staple of my childhood. But first, before I get too excited, we gotta kick it off with our celebrity crush of the week. Who are you crushing on this week, Mercedes?
Yeah. So mine isn't really a celebrity, it's a public figure, Jack
Mhm.
Kennedy Schlossberg. Shout out to my friend Kristen, who saw him on a plane the other day. And since then, we've just been talking about him and like stalking his meme filled Instagram. And he's tall, he has great hair. He's just like a pretty boy.
Okay, I have no idea who this is. What does he do? Is he an influencer?
He's he no, he's just like a Kennedy. He's JFK's grandson.
Okay.
Yeah. So like he's just a Kennedy. I don't know how else to put it.
It's just a Kennedy. No big deal. Hey, it's a powerful last name. So if you guys got married,
Mhm.
wouldn't be mad. Wouldn't be mad. Um, okay. So I went to the movies for the first time in forever because I'm super
Okay.
lazy and just wait for everything to come on one of the streamers. But I
Same.
went to go see Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. And can I just say, Mads Mikkelsen is my celebrity crush this week, and I will never forget the first time I fell in love with him. It was in 2012. I had an internship at the Cannes Film Festival in France, and he
Mhm.
had a film premiering there called The Hunt. It's a Danish film written and directed by Thomas Vinterberg. Shout out to him because he makes the best movies ever. And this movie will always freaking stay with me, Mercedes, because it was so good. It's basically about a kindergarten teacher that gets falsely accused of child abuse, and his entire life is ruined. And it's crazy. Like, he gets falsely accused by one of his like kindergarten students, and
Oh
his
my
entire life
god.
is ruined. And it is such a if you ever have the chance, I'll have to find where it's playing. All of our
Uh-huh.
listeners too, you guys have to watch this movie. It is one of the best movies I've ever seen, and Mads Mikkelsen kills it. But that was like one of the that wasn't the first time I saw it. That was like the first time I realized, like, I love this man. I love him. He's talented. He's amazing. I will watch everything that he's in. Yes. So
His bone structure, amazing. Like
it is
truly,
amazing.
oh my gosh. Every time I see him, I'm like, that's like witchcraft. And now he's in Harry Potter, so
Yo,
makes
the
sense.
Danes, the freaking Danes. I've been to Denmark twice. They are beautiful. They are
They are beautiful
constructed
people.
perfectly. Yes, it is
Yes,
ridiculous.
I totally agree. It's wild.
All right, listeners, we're gonna move right on over into the TLDR. Just a warning, there are spoilers ahead. If you have not seen Brown Sugar, you can watch it on Amazon Prime. Take it away, Mercedes.
Yeah. Okay, so Sydney Shaw, played by Sanaa Lathan, and Dre Ellis, played by Taye Diggs, are childhood friends who at a young age really bond over a shared love of hip hop. Now, as adults, Sydney is a successful writer and new editor of the hip hop mag Double XL, and Dre is the rep at Millennial Records, and who he's really lacking the passion he once had for the music. He
Mhm.
kind of feels like a sellout right now. But the two are still best friends as adults, and now Sydney has moved back to New York. And as they reunite, Dre is preparing to propose to his attorney girlfriend, Reese, played by Nicole Ari Parker. And the night before the wedding, Sydney and Dre share a kiss, but he still marries Reese. It's wild.
It's wild.
Now yeah, now they're back to living their regular lives. Sydney begins dating an NBA player, and Dre quits his job to start his own music label to focus on bringing back real hip hop, really focusing on authenticity. He quickly signs a local rapper, Chris, played by Mos Def,
Woo!
to the label. Yeah, this is so hilarious in this movie. Oh my god. Reese is so unsupportive of his career move, while Sydney invests in the company for like financially and is fully supporting and starts spending more time with Dre again. But around the same time becomes engaged, and Dre thinks she's just making a huge mistake. And after catching Reese cheating, Dre and Sydney sleep together, which complicates things even further. Sydney's still engaged, so she asks for space from Dre and then calls off her engagement. And when she goes to tell him, he sees that he's with Reese again, just hanging out. So now it's time for Chris's single to play on the radio, and Dre hears Sydney's radio interview where she's talking about her new book, I Used to Love Him. And it's a love letter to hip hop, but it's basically a love letter to him.
Yep.
And he realizes this and runs to the radio station to profess his love, and they embrace in love. It's
Oh,
so good. Ah,
it's
I love
so
this movie.
sweet. I have to say one of my favorite things about this movie is how hip hop is just an analogy or a
Oh,
metaphor
yeah.
for Dre. And so from the moment she starts talking about hip hop in the narration, you know who she's talking about right away.
Mhm.
It's so great. So this is a 2002 film written by Michael Elliott and Rick Famuyiwa. Sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, but Rick also directed this film, and his past credits include The Wood, The Shy, Dope, and a few episodes of The Mandalorian, actually. And so I
Ooh.
think that's really cool. Yeah, but what was also really cool. So Sydney's fiance in here, Kelby, is played by Boris Kodjoe, who
Yeah,
my
beautiful.
beautiful! But, like, he's
Mhm.
still fine today. That's what always blows my mind is these men are still fine today, and it's like they're aging like freaking fine wine. But I thought it was interesting because Idris Elba actually auditioned to play Kelby. Could you imagine
Oh
this
my
movie with Idris Elba?
gosh.
Right?
No, actually, I can't. Like, still would add so much like, this cast is so hot. Just
Yeah.
everyone
Oh,
who
yeah.
has a speaking role beautiful, really. Like, so he would fit in well with the beauty part of it, but I
Mhm.
don't know, like, I feel like this movie's so it's casted so well that I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to change anything,
Mhm. Exactly, I
you know?
agree.
So I actually read that the idea for this project came from the screenwriter Michael Elliott, who
Mhm.
took inspiration from a Mary J. Blige song in 7 Days. And Elliott thought that this story of like two lifelong friends navigating like a dynamic between platonic and romantic was just such a great idea. And wow, was he right? You know, it's
Yeah.
so, oh gosh, and like we've talked about how we aren't the biggest fans of like the childhood friends to lovers thing, but
Mhm.
like, I love it in this movie.
I think this is how you do it though, Mercedes. I think that's why
Exactly.
we like it because this is the right way to do it.
Yeah, it
Um,
makes sense.
it makes sense and it's, organic, right? And it's
Yeah.
not necessarily forced, and I have a lot to say about it in a little bit, but I thought it was also cool that this was Taye Diggs and Sanaa Lathan's 3rd film together. Like, by 2002, they had
Yeah.
already done 3 films together. And also, Boris Kodjoe and Nicole Ari Parker are married in real life. I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that
Yeah,
either.
they've been married since 2005. I wonder if they met on this set, but they've been
They
married
must have met on this set
they must have
since
had this set,
2005.
right?
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh,
right?
love story.
And
Oh
they're
my
still
god.
married today, they have, like, 2 or 3 kids, and they're a gorgeous couple.
Oh,
Absolutely gorgeous.
oh yeah, beautiful people.
Beautiful.
Oh, I love how, I don't know, like, romance these actors are. Like, by this time, T. Diggs and Sanaa Lathan had both established themselves as, like, amazing romance leads, you know?
Mhm,
And even Michael Elliott, he wrote the screenplay for Just Right because of Queen Latifah's performance in this movie.
mhm,
And you know me, I love Queen Latifah as, like, one of the queens of rom-coms, and I really do think that. So, like, and I love Just Right, so knowing that that wouldn't have been made without this movie, it
yeah.
just I'm so much more grateful for this movie.
Exactly. It's so good. I think too, this movie just like sets my whole heart on fire because this was the time that I was really into rap music. I was really into hip hop. So at the beginning when they start off the movie and they start doing interviews with everyone, like it was so they had Pete Rock on there, they had Common, they had
Yeah.
all of these rappers I had grown up with and listened to, just like talk, and it was so cool. So I will never forget Common walked past my bedroom window here in Los Angeles
Yeah.
during one of the marches for the Black Lives Matter movement, and I saw him in real life, and he was glowing, and he also came into my office when I was at Stars to pitch
Oh
something,
my
and he
god.
said hello to me, and I was like, "Common, let's get married."
Truly. Oh my gosh.
Let's get
Oh,
married.
I love all these little moments with Common you have
I
through
know.
time.
I have these little moments with celebrities that, like, over time, I'll start telling more and more stories, but, like, sometimes celebrities just kinda pop back up into my life, and I'm not mad about it. Not mad about it at all.
Yeah. I mean, they see you, they feel
Mm.
you.
Alright, guys, we're gonna move over into Time Capsule. Mercedes and I just like to recall where we were when we first watched this movie, which, of course, if you remember, I never remember where I was. But I do definitely remember it was on BET, because that's all I used to watch in middle school. It was and this movie was just always on, and I think BET used to start playing movies at either, like, 7:30 or 8 right after 106 in Park. I'm totally dating
Oh
myself.
my
If
gosh,
anyone
classic.
remembers 106 in Park. But, like, that was my favorite time, and I think I saw a lot of, like, the black rom-com, just, like, black movie classics on BET that I wasn't able to see on, like, other channels because other channels weren't playing it, so it was really cool. It was a really that channel was really a staple in my childhood, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can, like, remember it's always beside on any cable next to MTV and VH1. So they
Mhm.
were all in, like, my There were only specific channels I would check. So I would check those 3, and then I would check, like, Bravo and E. That says, like, the type of person I am.
Yeah.
So, like, they were always in my same rotation, and, like, all the best
Mhm.
movies would play.
Yeah.
Every every weekend, they had great marathons.
Yeah, and I think too, like I said, BET just made me feel really seen and heard, and I'm curious for you, Mercedes, like, yeah, we did JLo Week, and I know she was a big staple in your childhood. Like, what other movies from when you were younger made you feel just, like, really seen and heard in your identity?
Oh my goodness. Okay. I have to shout out America Ferrera, like, Real Women Have Curves, Gotta Kick It
Yes.
Up, even, like, Carmen and Sister of the Traveling Pants, truly everything that she did as a younger and, like, Ugly Betty too, like, I just think
Uh
there were elements of that I was Ugly Betty for Halloween last year, like, truly
oh,
she
no
made an
way!
impact on me. Yeah, like, and I think all of her roles I don't know if you can, like, grow up being kind of, like, a dorky Latina and, like, not identify with her.
Yes.
I think that's just kind of, like, the law. Like,
Mhm.
if you're around in the early 2000s, then you definitely, like, are attached to her on some emotional level.
No, that's very true. I remember her from Gotta Kick It Up, the Disney Channel original movie
Yes,
about, like,
so good.
loved it. So I watched it all. Actually, I think that movie is what inspired me to join dance team in middle school. Um,
It's
like
so oh my gosh, when Disney Channel would do the things online where you could, like, vote for what movies you wanted for the summer, that
mm,
one I'm voting
yeah.
every day for as long as I could. I loved it.
Exactly. Where were
Like
you the first time that you watched this movie? Do you remember?
so I didn't watch this movie till college.
Wow.
Which is shocking for me because usually especially the early 2000s ones,
Mhm.
I knew them all. But, yeah, I didn't watch this till college, and it's actually funny because I watched it the summer after I took this hip hop history and literature course. I
Mm.
was I was an English major, media studies double
Yeah.
major, so, like, I had this perfect blend, and it was blending, like, hip hop history and literature and, like, really, also, like, elements of, like, BLM activism too, like, this was all part of the course,
Mhm.
and I learned so much. So then the beginning of this movie, when they're referencing all of these historical rappers and MCs, I knew immediately every single name, which
Yep.
I don't think I would have before I took that course. I would have known the people talking, but probably not
Mhm.
all the names that were being referenced. And like even now being able to like just know that because this
Mhm.
movie isn't one that teaches you about hip hop. It's for people who already are hip hop lovers, you
Yep,
know? Which
100%.
I really just respect because you're already walking into this being like, I know what I'm gonna get. And if you
Yeah.
don't know anything about hip hop, I'm sure the people who watch this for the first time, you wanna go and search these names because obviously they have such an impact.
They
So,
seriously do.
yeah, I just love hearing like all the icons being referenced in this movie.
It's nice to kind of feel like this movie is also like an exclusive club, like, you have to know in order to, like, understand. So
Yeah.
it always made me feel included because, like, again, those are people I just, like, would throw their CDs on in my car, like, in
Mhm.
my freaking boombox. Again, dating myself. And it was so great. I also remember though in 2002, so I was 10 years old, I started playing the violin around then. I started playing the trumpet
Ooh,
and the violin around then. And I think I was influenced by have you heard of the hip hop violinist?
no.
Okay,
Tell
her
me.
name is, Miri Ben Ari, and she was, like, she's this Israeli violinist that was in every single music video, like, hip hop music video in the early 2000s.
Oh my
So
gosh, then I've
she
definitely heard her. I
yeah,
just don't know.
you've seen her,
Yeah.
you've seen her. If you watch, like, Twista, Alicia Keys, Jay-Z, any of
Mhm.
their videos from, like, 2000 to, like, 2006, she was in all of their music videos. She played for everyone, and I never knew her name growing up, but, like, we always just call her, like, yeah, she's a hip-hop violinist, like, she was a girl with curly hair, and she'd play, like, the violin in all these music videos, and it was really cool because it's the violin, which is, like, a classical instrument over these, like, hip-hop beats, and it was so cool. It was so cool. So, anyways, I think I was a little influenced by her because I thought she was really cool. And also,
Yeah.
I think the violin lessons were either, like, free or super cheap, so they were really convenient for my parents. So that's why I played
That's
the
always
violin.
important.
That's
That's always important.
how do I get our kid out of the house for 2 hours? Put her in violin
Exactly,
lessons
without paying
without
thousands.
paying.
Yeah. Oh my
What were
goodness.
you doing?
I was 6 when this movie came out. I
Mhm.
was in 1st grade, which is when I first started playing basketball. So coincidentally, I was definitely rewatching another Sanaa Lathan classic that we've already
Mhm.
discussed and raved about on the pod, Love and
Yep.
Basketball.
Loving
And
that
it's so
stuff.
funny that, like, that was definitely in my movie rotation heavily at this time when this movie came out, and I mean, they're only a couple years apart, but
Mhm.
still, like, the early 2000s, like, she made such an impact as a romance lead. Wow.
Yes. Ugh. Still to this day, she's making an impact. So now, Lathan, shout out to
Yes,
you. I hope we do all of your movies in the time that we do this
definitely.
podcast.
Yes, that's a goal.
It's a goal. All right, guys, it's time for the Rom-Com Hall of Fame. But first, of course, Mercedes, as always, we have to roast this movie. It is from 2002. It is
Yeah.
20 years old, so there should be a lot more to roast. But I'm curious, like, what do you think? What are you thinking?
So this is just it goes we've had this conversation a lot, and it's
Mhm.
that classic rom-com casual infidelity. Like,
Casual.
why is there so much cheating in this genre, and why haven't I realized it before? And
Mhm.
this movie, there's definitely cheating
Mhm.
in on a lot of different sides. So I that's probably my roast, just the cheating in all of these, especially early 2000 rom-coms, it seems. And
Yeah.
but something I do appreciate is that Reese isn't playing this evil fiance/wife character. She's
Mhm.
dynamic and three-dimensional just as much as our leads are, and she's not
Mhm.
just like some basic villain.
Yeah.
So even her complicated cheating dynamic too, like you understand her on some level.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think my roast for this just has to be the lingo, like, how we used to talk. Like, what? Like, there's a okay, after Sydney and Dre have sex, she's like, "We
Yeah.
just got busy." Like, what? Who says that? And then when Dre is making his speech at, like, the Christmas party, the New Year's party, and he's like,
Yeah.
"I'm a little twisted," to say that he's drunk, like,
Yeah.
we would like, "What?" And then every time there was a good song on the radio, you'd be like, "Oh, this is a cut. This is a joint." Like, oh my gosh, I can't. And we used to think we were so like, honestly, I'm so shocked that there was no, like, fashizzle type stuff in this
I
movie.
was I was shocked that the Dalmatians duo didn't say
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
anything like that, because that was definitely up their alley.
That was up their alley. Also, too, that was so funny. I think
Oh,
that's a
yeah.
little bit of a roast too, because it's so cringe, like, the
But
whole
it's so real. Like, that duo could come out now and you'd still be
Mhm.
cringing, but it would
Yep.
happen. Like, they would get signed.
They would
'Cause
get tied, exactly.
some random, just, like, white boy in, like, the Midwest would be loving it.
Yeah. It's so funny. Oh my gosh. But what is your favorite quote? Like, when you watch this movie, what is a quote that just gets you every time?
Okay, there's so many,
Mhm.
and I think it's because of Taye Diggs. He's just so funny in this movie, and his timing is so great. I have 2. I know
Okay.
my first one is a funny one, and it's when he confronts Reese, and he's like, "I'm trying to order the most expensive bottle of champagne because 'cause we're gonna celebrate. We're gonna celebrate what? My divorce." And the way he says
Wonderful.
divorce is so funny, and, like, he's just so hilariously chaotic in this scene,
Mhm,
and, like, the whole clip I wish I could clip the whole thing because
mhm.
everything he says, even when he's like, "Richard Lawson," and, like, he's saying his name, I'm like, "This is perfect."
He's like, "You sound educated."
Exactly, exactly.
I think too, like, okay, there's so many most of my quotes are from Mos Def, like Chris's character,
Oh,
because he's so
hilarious.
funny. He's so funny. But I took the romantic route this time. I love when they're at the New Year's party and it's right after Kelby proposes to Sydney, and she says, "So what is the difference between rap and hip hop? It's simple. It's like the difference between saying you love somebody and being in love with somebody. Rap is just a word." I was
Ooh.
like, "Oof." Tugging
Oh,
all of my heartstrings, Cindy, tugging all of them.
I know, I wish I could read her book.
Mhm. Me too. I know. I feel like she's a strong writer.
Yeah. My second favorite is so sweet, and it's when Tay Diggs says, "I can't wait for your book to come out. When you left, I went out and got the LA Times every Wednesday for a column, and I'd go to the park and read it. I don't know, it just made me feel closer to you." And, like, as a writer, like,
Yeah.
the idea of of the
Mhm.
man you love reading your articles, like, that's how you see her, that's how you hear her, that's how you understand her, and, like,
Mhm.
that was his way of being close with her, and I just oh my god, and he doesn't, like, say she doesn't ask, he just
Yeah.
says it.
He just brings it up.
Oh,
Just naturally, organically.
oh,
Mercedes, I feel like, honestly, the amount of rom-coms we watch, how is our, like, perception of men not completely skewed? I feel like I just have
I
such a high
think it
standard. I'm like,
definitely
if you
is.
are
I'm
not
sorry.
yeah. I'm like, if you are not out here watching all of my TikTok videos and looking at all the articles I've been featured in, what are you doing?
Yeah. And, like, think about being just a creative in any realm, like, that all your
Mhm.
work is incredibly vulnerable.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for I don't know, for the man you love to go out of his way to really engage with the work you create, that's
Mhm.
so important because it really is, like, showing a whole other side of your heart to the world.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I that sometimes she's speaking directly to him in her
Mhm.
book and in her writing, and I think he feels that too, and that's why he feels so close with her.
Yeah, and I think too, there's such a level of comfort to show vulnerability through your art and then to
Yeah.
be fully accepted. And I just like want to share something like in that realm because I just came back from the Netherlands and Belgium for my birthday trip
Yeah.
and it was amazing and I got to reconnect with one of my friends. His name is Alex. I met him in my hostel in Mongolia back in 2019.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, he's Dutch and he lives in the Netherlands, so he took the train to come and see me. And we like when we first met, we got really close because it was so easy to be vulnerable with him. And also he was super accepting of me. So like I know a lot of our listeners know this, but like I identify as a late bloomer and also too like I'm still a virgin. I've never had sex before and I'm
Mhm.
30 years old. It's just like, a personal choice. But I remember we got on the topic of love and relationships when we met and we started talking about this and like here every single guy who has ever found out that small part about me has thought that I was like an alien, right? They've thought there's
Mm,
something wrong with you, it's a red flag, like you're weird, all of these things. And to be able to share that with my friend Alex and have him just be like, that's really cool. Like that's awesome that you do that. And just to completely accept me in that moment was so
yeah,
powerful. And so I know that that's probably how Sydney is feeling in that moment of like, gosh, to show like a part of myself through my writing, to have you not only read it, but like, make it a priority and like accept me based off of that. Like it's just such a
yeah.
beautiful feeling. So I just want to
Definitely. Oh, I love that. I love that.
So, Mercedes, if this movie pops up on your Tinder feed, are you swiping left or are you swiping right?
I'm swiping right. I adore this movie. It makes me genuinely laugh so hard, and the love feels real. What I really appreciate is that it's an honest love story, and you understand why they work together, and they're
Mhm.
not just good friends. This is a true romance, and it's a true friends to lovers in the best way possible. And
Yeah.
you see all the in between moments between them that really emphasize their connection and their chemistry. Dre is just so absolutely brilliant as a character. Taye Diggs
Mhm.
is so funny, like I've already said, and I think he just brings such a different I don't know if a lot of people would bring so much humor to this character. Because if
Hmm.
you think about, like, he has to deal with, like, a really rushed marriage, he's dealing with a divorce, he's dealing with career changes, and
Mhm.
he still brings the lightness to each scene, you know?
Yeah.
And then we have Sanaa Lathan, who's just so amazing at childhood friends to lovers, like, holy
Mhm.
cow, she is the
Yeah.
face of the trope, you know?
Yes.
And I do like, anytime she's a part of any childhood friends to lovers movie, I'm here for it, and I love it. And I don't know, this movie just gets it correct because the leads know each other and they understand each other, and we get to see that all unfold in a way that makes sense, and the
Mhm.
time feels regular. I don't know, like, something about it, like, it never feels rushed
Mhm.
into their love story, and you
Yeah.
don't ever question why or how they're in love. We see their good moments, and we see their annoying, frustrating moments, and he just reads her articles, and I am never gonna
Mhm.
get over that, and it shows all the parts of that a lot of rom-coms leave out, all the in-betweens that make it real love, you know?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
also just the supporting characters, like
So
we've
great.
said, like Chris Scene Stealer, also
Mhm.
like Queen Latifah's character as her cousin, so good. And
So funny.
I just like I love how Mostaf's character, like he's so confident as a rapper and then he's so shy around her. Like that's what makes Chris such a precious like a
Mhm.
supporting character and you want
Yeah.
to root for him too. And it also makes him so much hotter to see how shy he gets. I don't know what
Mhm.
that is in my brain. I'm like, that's so hot.
What is that, Mercedes? What is that? You
I
got
don't know.
dig a little
I
deeper
love a
there.
shy boy.
I 1000% agree with you. I'm swiping all the way right. One, two, because Tay Diggs is a fellow Syracuse alum. Shout out Orangeman. And
Ah,
yeah. And I also feel like I was saying in the beginning, the reason we like this movie so much is because this is the healthy kind of childhood relationship, like
Yeah.
friends to lovers trope that we think they do so well. It's because like they both grow up together, they support each other, they see each other through different seasons, but they are also their own people, right? They
Mhm.
date other people, they have the freedom to do whatever it is that they want. Like they move to different cities, they still live their lives independent of each other, but they always come back together. And I think
Yes.
it's really I think that's what shows the foundation of the relationship, is that
Mhm.
respect and that they're both drawn to each other in that way, right? Of
Yeah.
always coming like, just living completely independent lives where they keep coming back to each other, they keep making sure that they are each other's priority in their lives, and so that's why I like this movie, and, like, in the ways that we don't like other like, "Oh, yeah, we've been together since we were 2 years old," like, that's weird.
Yeah. Oh, you said it so well, and it's so true. They have a mutual respect, and they give each other space to grow and evolve,
Mhm.
which a
Mhm.
lot of these childhood friends to lovers type of things don't give.
Yeah.
And as much as this movie praises the past and wants to go like, a huge motive for them is to go back to this area of authenticity within hip hop. And I think
Mhm.
that also speaks to, like, their bond as well. Like, let's go back to, like, the roots of our bond. But even when they're looking back at the past and reminiscing and, like, connecting on that level again,
Mhm.
they're still allowing for space for their present day person too,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Who is that person that's kind of always been there in your life, Mercedes? I know you have a lot of friends. You're a very popular girl, but who is that person that like you guys have known each other for a really long time, and you always come back to each other. Like it doesn't matter how much time has passed, it always feels like no time has passed.
Yeah, I think I have a few friends who I made right at the beginning of middle school
Mhm.
who we've seen each other through such different seasons. I have to shout out Kaylee, like she's one of my best friends ever and one of my truly favorite people in the entire world.
Hmm.
And we met, I remember meeting her on the first day of 6th grade. And I remember being like, I don't know if I'm gonna like you. And then we like hit it off and we haven't lived in the same place since high school.
Mhm.
And and we've still maintained such a healthy friendship, and when we do, like, have our long calls again,
Mhm.
it's I don't know what it is, but it feels like our emotions are always aligned, where I'll be like, "Yeah, I was really feeling this way or dealing with this," and she's like, "I was doing that same thing." And it's
Mhm.
like, I don't know, we're on the same wavelength all the time, even if we're not in constant contact, and I've, like, loved seeing her just, like, become who she is and just, like, grow and learn more about herself. It's so exciting, and she's just a
Yeah.
genius and amazing.
Shout out Kaylee. Way to be a
Yeah.
friend, Kaylee. I have to give a shout out to my friend Shalina. We have known each other since 1st grade, and she has
Wow.
just she every single time I call, she answers. Every in the
Wow.
freaking what is it? Like 25 years that we've been friends. Every single time I've
That's
called, she has answered.
crazy.
And she always makes time for me. Even if she can't talk right then, she'll answer and be like, "I'll call you back." And it's amazing.
Oh,
It's so it's so nice. I never get sent to her voicemail, but also too, she's pregnant right now, and I saw her recently when I was in Atlanta a few weeks ago, because that's where she lives, and she's about to have a baby, and I literally went on a whole shopping spree for this baby, and it was so fun, but, like, I just love that she has been that kind of consistent person, and we don't need to talk every single day. I know she has my back. I know she's going to support me. I know she's always going to be there for me, and it's such a great feeling to have that. And listeners, I wanna know, who are your friends who are like that? They're just staples in your life who you know are gonna be there through thick and thin. Let us know. Slide into our DMs.
Contra, I love our friends.
I love
Like,
our friends.
I love getting to sit here with you and just, like, gush about these friends we've had
Mhm.
forever. It's
Yeah,
so
there are
fun.
some we have very special people in our lives, but I also feel like that says a lot about us too, Mercedes. Like, we attract
Totally.
good people, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna move over to couples therapy. Mercedes and I just like to try to give advice for these couples and how they can improve their relationships. And I feel like I say this every single week, but I really just hope the two of them can remain honest with each other.
Mhm.
Honesty is such a big foundation in relationships. You don't have anything if you cannot have trust and honesty. And so I feel like it was by them lying not only to like each other but themselves that got them into this situation. So I hope that as they add like sex and love into their relationship, which changes everything, that they can
Mhm.
still maintain that level of friendship because it's that friendship that's gonna keep them going through hard times. It's gonna keep that respect between them, and when the two of them get angry at each other and don't wanna do like, cannot stand each other anymore, it's that friendship that's gonna push them through. So I want them to always maintain that.
Yes, I love that. So I know I keep focusing on the fact that Dre reads his articles, but I have to like my advice is just to continue that.
Mhm,
He sees her in a way that no one else does, and a part of that is because he reads her writing.
mhm,
And she's a writer, and to be read is to be seen and understood, and he does that for her, and he truly knows her. And I don't know, yeah, always just read her writing, and then you'll truly hear her, you know? I think
100%.
she definitely shares so much more of her emotions in her narrations from her book that we hear as the voiceover.
Mhm,
And like, that's where, like, her soul is, you know? Like,
mhm,
that's where you're gonna find the heart of her, that's where you're gonna find all of her passion, and, like, it takes so much of her to, like, really say, "I love you" to him, and
mhm.
yeah, as long as he just, like, keeps reading those articles, I think he's in a good place, you know? And
Yeah.
she loves him for his passion and his crafts within the music industry, and they have this shared love for authentic hip hop.
Mhm,
And she also deserves to be loved for her passion of writing about hip hop too. And
mhm,
they share this love of words because of their love of hip hop. And I just want that to continue. So hip hop is their love language. Bond
mhm.
over these words, connect over each other's words, and, ugh, yeah, love
Yeah,
them.
hip hop is 100% their love language. I think too for Sydney specifically, her love languages also are words of affirmation, acts of service because you could
Yes.
see yeah, you could see how much it hurt her when Kelby didn't read her articles, but then you can
No.
also see how much it meant to her when she realized that Dre did. And I think Dre's is physical touch. I definitely think
Yes.
he is so handsy. Do you not? Because even he's always like kissing Reese or Sydney, but even when he walks into the restaurant to confront Reese cheating, he was like it was
Mhm.
like the way that he was holding onto Sydney's arm, like he needed to, like, be touching her for support. Did you notice that?
Yeah, and even their hugs, like, when
Mhm,
they're just like, right when they reunite again in New York when she moves back,
mhm.
their embraces are, like, so full.
Yeah, exactly, full embraces.
Yeah.
What do you think their love languages are?
So I completely agree with you that Sid needs words of affirmation. I think she gives acts of service and quality time.
Mhm,
Because this is a long time friendship. So I think quality time plays a huge role here.
mhm,
And they've really bonded over these years of just, I don't know, just connecting over their shared interests.
mhm.
And these two have decades of friendship. So their bond is automatically going to be different than any other relationship they have. And it's lasted because of quality time and mutual support.
Mhm.
She supports the record label and his dreams and financially and just as a friend, and he supports
Mhm.
her writing. And I think yeah, they share this language. So I think words of affirmation has so much to do here.
Yeah.
And I do think he needs quality time, and he gives physical touch and words of affirmation, because even like when he gives a toast on New Year's and he's like, "You're the
Mhm.
perfect verse over a tight beat," and
Aw.
like that, and she just feels so seen, you know?
Yeah.
And like the fact that he can just effortlessly quote her work,
Mhm.
that's just a whole other type of words of
Yeah.
affirmations. Like, wow.
This movie made me realize how low my standards are for men. I'm just like, "If you're nice."
I saw I was watching I was watching an old episode of Laguna Beach the other day,
Oh,
and
stop it. Are you
season 3.
serious?
Season 3 is my favorite, yeah, and I've been rewatching lately. And there was this one scene where she's like, "I love that you brought a blanket to our picnic." And I was like, the bar is so low. Like, that's
So
what she
low.
loves.
So low. But what's not low is the love that Sydney and Drake clearly have for each other. So I have a question for you, Mercedes. I ask you every week. Do you think this couple lasts in 5 years?
Of course, these 2 are soulmates.
Yeah.
They're together forever.
Yeah, 100% agreed. All right, guys, it is time for a heartthrob. We just like to gush about who we like in the movie. Mercedes, who are you taking home to introduce to your friends and your family?
So this was so hard, which is shocking because usually this is a pretty easy answer for us.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I think the men in this movie every character is just amazing. And like I have crushes on all the main men for different reasons. But I'm gonna say Dre. There's just something so attractive about an already hot guy who's also goofy. He makes fun of himself, he's self-aware for the most part, and he also really understands Sid, which is so important.
Yeah.
And I love how goofy Taye Diggs is in this movie. It's just oh gosh, I swoon.
I agree with you. I understand. Like I did have a crush on every single guy here, but it is without a doubt Chris. I big time
Yes.
Chris. You don't okay. I cannot emphasize this enough. Most Def was my whole heart growing up. My
Aw.
whole heart growing up. I love him more than air. Like I cannot breathe without him. Love Most Def. He's so funny in this. Like, and
Yeah.
it's so amazing because he was such a sick lyricist, but then he'd go and act
Mhm.
and he was so good and he had amazing comedic timing. And I just loved how multifaceted he is. And I think I'm talking more about Most Def than I am about his character Chris, but I
I
still
no, but like I don't think people realize how many movies he's been in.
I know. He's a
Yeah.
legit actor, and he's
Yeah.
good too. But I
Every
love Chris. I love all of his, like, quick little lines and jokes. I also love that he was super humble too. Like, he was an amazing rapper, but then you just go back and drive his cab and just that's just life. That's just what
Oh
happened.
my goodness, the whole Casablanca scene,
Yes. In the
so
fog.
good.
He walks out of the
Yes!
fog with another guy. Like, who does that?
Yeah. And he's just
That is
like,
so
"I'm not Humphrey Bogart, you're Humphrey Bogart."
yeah.
And it's so clever and oh,
Mhm.
man. Yeah, I totally
So
agree with you. He's
so
so
good.
great.
Like, I love those types of movies too, so we would have endless conversations. All right, guys, we're gonna play Mary Smooch Ghost Mercedes. We got Dre, Chris, and Kelby. Who are you marrying? Who are you smooching? And who are you ghosting?
This is so hard because I don't wanna ghost anybody, so I'm
Oh,
gonna smooch 2 and marry
okay.
1.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna marry Dre,
Mhm.
and then I'm gonna smooch Chris and Kelby. I don't wanna ghost any of these men,
I
truly.
hear you. I 100% hear you. So I'm gonna marry Chris, and I will smooch Dre and Kelby. I'm glad we are
Yay.
on the same page with that one. But before we wrap it up, listeners, we always love to bring in a pop culture moment. So I love the show Succession on HBO Max,
Mhm.
and Sanaa Lathan was in this latest series and this latest season, sorry, and it just blows my mind that she does not age. I had a I
Truly.
she does not age. I was Googling her when I was watching the last season, and she is 50 years old. And I'm just like, when did that happen? In my mind, she's still like I think in my mind, she's still like something new Sanaa Lathan, which we have to do that movie on
Ooh,
a future
yeah.
episode.
Yes.
And like just so yeah, and she's 50. And it's like her and Taraji P. Henson, like, okay, when we talk about actresses that have made me feel seen in my identity, Sanaa Lathan and Taraji P. Henson are two people who come to mind. And I just really love that they kind of never play these tropes of stereotypical black women. They're always empowered, they're always in positions of power, they're always like very confident. And I feel like I've gravitated more towards their movies than like anyone else, and I'm obsessed with them. If I could be anyone in the world, it would be like a love child between Sanaa Lathan and Taraji P. Henson.
I love that. No, and you're so right. I don't think I've ever like really like when you think about their filmography and just the characters they've been,
Mhm,
they're always such dynamic, three-dimensional characters who have such good stories. Oh,
mhm.
it's so true. Now I just want to do a whole marathon binge of all their work.
Exactly.
So I don't know if you know about the celebrity hotties in white cable knit sweaters trend. I think around the Chris Evans, I forget the 2019 mystery movie where
Mhm.
he's that evil rich boy with like the white cable
Knives
knit
Out.
sweater. Yes, Knives
Yeah.
Out. I could not remember. And so everyone loves to talk about and this like whole trend of just like celebrity Hollywood hotties in these white cable knit sweaters. And I need to let the record state that Taye Diggs
Mm.
wins this contest.
He
In
wins!
in this white cable knit sweater competition, he wins forever. In the
Yep.
last scene when he's running over to Sid, and oh my god, like the coziest sweater
He goes
ever. And I'm like, please let me borrow it." Like, I'm obsessed.
let me just sleep in it. Let me be wrapped up in
Literally. And
it.
no one brings him up in this conversation, and I need it to be known that he wins.
You hear that, listeners? Taye Diggs wins the cable knit sweater competition. No one else.
Exactly.
But
Chris
also,
Evans has nothing on this.
he has nothing. But also, guys, we want to know who else are some of your contendants in this competition. What did you think of the movie Brown Sugar, of Dre and Sydney's relationship? We want to know all of it. Make sure to slide into our DMs at Meet Cute. Again, guys, I'm Kendra. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Ken10Hollywood.
Yes, and I'm Mercedes. You can find me at MercedesGV11 on Twitter, IG, and TikTok. And if you're looking for new rom-coms, follow Meet Cute wherever you listen to podcasts and follow Meet Cute on socials everywhere. Bye, everybody.
We'll see you next week.